It's English time! Hi, I'm Teacher Mitch. Come and join me as we learn English the easy way. Subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell to keep updated with my latest uploads. Please also share and hit the like button if you appreciate my videos. Thank you! Hello grade 8 learners! Nasa week 2 na agad tayo ng inyong lesson for English 8. Halina't manood at matuto, kaya naman simulan na natin ang ating discussion. Our target learning competency for this video is analyze literary text as expressions of individual or communal values within. And here are the topics covered for this session. Plot elements, types of conflict, points of view of narration. Every short story has its own plot. A story is like climbing a mountain if the plot follows a linear structure. Ano nga ba ang plot? Plot refers to how the author arranges events to develop the basic idea. It is the sequence of events in a story or play. The plot is a planned, logical series of events having a beginning, middle, and end. A short story usually has one plot, so it can be read in one sitting. In a pyramidic or linear structure of a story plot, there are 6 essential parts of events. When we say pyramidic or linear plot, it refers to a common structure used in storytelling, where the events of a story follow a clear sequence from beginning to end. This structure is called pyramidic because it visually resembles a triangle or pyramid, and linear because the story progresses in a straight chronological order. Here are the parts of a pyramidic or linear plot arranged in its proper sequence. The first part is exposition. Next is the inciting incident. Third is rising action, followed by climax, then the falling action, and ended with the resolution. I will discuss each part in detail. The first part of this plot diagram is the exposition or introduction. This is the beginning of the story where the characters and setting are revealed. Next is inciting incident or complication. This is a small single event that gives birth or leads to the conflict. Without this, the conflict will not be developed in the rising action. Third is rising action. As the story unfolds, the events become complicated. It is where the conflict is gradually developed. These events happen between the introduction and climax. Na-mention ko yung word na conflict. Ano nga ba ang conflict? Conflict is essential to plot in which opposition ties incidents together and moves the plot. Not merely limited to arguments, conflict can be any of the struggle the main character faces. Within a short story, there may be only one central struggle, or there may be many minor obstacles within a dominant struggle. In addition, you have to remember that there are 2 general types of conflict: internal conflict or struggle within oneself. Under internal conflict, we have character versus self. The other one is external conflict or the struggle with a force outside oneself. Specific types of this conflict are character versus character, character versus nature, character versus society, character versus technology, and character versus supernatural. Now, let me elaborate character versus self type of conflict. This happens within the character's mind, a struggle with emotions, decisions, or beliefs. For example, in Spider-Man 2002, Peter Parker struggles with the responsibility of being a superhero versus living a normal life. An example in real life is that A student deciding whether to report a cheating classmate struggles with honesty versus loyalty to a friend. On the other hand, under external conflict, we have character versus character. It is a struggle between two characters. For example, in Harry Potter, Harry often clashes with Draco Malfoy and eventually Voldemort. In real life, siblings fighting over inheritance or friends arguing over a betrayal. Character versus society. It is a conflict in which a character stands against rules, laws, or cultural norms. For example, the movie The Hunger Games, wherein Katniss fights a corrupt, controlling government. In real life, an example of this is a woman standing up for gender equality in a workplace dominated by men. Character versus nature. The struggle is against natural forces such as weather, animals, or disasters. For example, the movie The Revenant, wherein the main character fights to survive in the wilderness after a bear attack. In real life, an example of which is survivors of a typhoon rebuilding their homes. Character versus technology. It is a conflict in which a character faces challenges caused by technology or machines. For example, in The Terminator, humans battle against machines trying to take over. In real life, example of which is people losing jobs because of automation or AI replacing human tasks. And lastly, character versus supernatural. The conflict is with forces beyond the natural world, such as ghosts, magic, or fate. For example, in the movie In Stranger Things, kids battle creatures from the upside down. In real life, an example of which is a person struggling with fear or beliefs about the afterlife or unexplained events. Going back to the parts of a plot, we have the fourth part, which is the climax. This refers to the turning and the highest point of the story. Readers wonder what will happen next. Will the conflict be resolved or not? Consider the climax as a threefold phenomenon. Main character receives new information. Main character accepts this information, realizes it, but does not necessarily agree with it. Main character acts on this information, makes a choice that will determine whether or not the objective is met. After climax is falling action. In this part, the resolution begins. Events and complications start to fall into place. These are the events between climax and resolution or denouement. And lastly, resolution or conclusion. Other term is denouement. This is the final outcome of events in the story. Now that we understand the different types of conflict that drive a story's plot, let's explore how these events are revealed to us. The way a story is told, through whose eyes we see and experience the conflict, depends on the point of view. This plays a crucial role in shaping how we perceive characters, events, and even the conflict itself. Point of view in a short story refers to the perspective from which the story is told. It determines who is narrating the story and how much they know about the events and characters. The main types of point of view are first person, second person, and third person point of view. First person point of view. The narrator is a character in the story and uses I or we. We see the story through their thoughts, feelings, and experiences. For example, I walked down the street, unsure of what I'd find. Second person point of view. The narrator speaks directly to the reader using you. This point of view is rare and often used in instructions or interactive stories. For example, you walk into the room and notice something strange. Third person point of view. The narrator is not part of the story and refers to characters using he, she, or they. It gives a more outside or observer-like view of the events. It has two common types. Third person limited focuses on one character's thoughts and feelings. For example, he walked home wondering if anyone had noticed his mistake. Third person omniscient. The narrator knows the thoughts and feelings of all characters. For example, he was worried about his secret, but she had already guessed it. Thanks for watching!